Hello, everyone. How's everyone's Thursday going? Happy Thursday. Get your coffee, you know? It's Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday. You look great today. Red is a nice color on you. Well, thank you very much. Hi, handsome. Thank you. Watching you at work. Oh, snap. Don't get fired. It's almost Friday here. That's right. Love the Christmas decor. Thank you. I have something very, very, very important to show you guys. And so I hope you're ready. Okay? This is very important. And so just let me know when you guys are ready. Let's be honest, when does he not look good? All the time. Trust me. We're ready? Okay. I have someone. This is the first live stream that I have someone that's going to help me here in the office. So, I am very excited to introduce you guys to my co-host of the live stream. I think he's going to be very helpful, and I'm really looking forward to what he has to say, you know? So, he is excited. He's going to go right here. And we're excited to have him as part of the team, you know? He's very excited. Look. Check this out. I'm going to turn him on real quick. Don't look at him. He has to be decent. Check it out. He wants to say hi to you guys. He's saying hi. You see that? Oh! He's the cutest, right? Look, you can make him go to sleep too if you hold him. If you hold him like this. Look, he's getting tired. Come on, go to sleep, baby. Go to sleep, little baby. He's sleeping. Shh, listen. He's sleeping. Be quiet. Okay. Wake up! Alright, we're turning him off because he makes too much noise. Okay. He's not a Furby, okay? He has his pendant as well. He's gonna sit right there. I hope I don't hit him on accident. That would not be good. No, turn him off. John and his Yoda are a perfect match. Well, thank you. He is way cuter than Furby, okay, you guys? I don't care what anyone says. He's way cuter, all right? He's staring right at you. He's staring into your soul. I told you, he's here to help. How's everyone's day? I need to plug my phone in. How you guys doing? John screaming, wake up to the baby is a mood. So I actually, my plan, I went to Walmart. Okay, so for those of you guys that haven't joined the Twitch streams, you guys should. I'm actually, this is actually a good time to announce this, or to tell you guys about this. So I am planning on doing, I'm going to be splitting my time on YouTube and on Twitch, okay? So my plan is I'm probably going to be doing Monday and Thursday streams here on YouTube, and then I'm going to be doing Tuesday and Friday streams on Twitch, okay? And so they, just so you guys know, they'll be around the same time. So like if you just make sure you get Twitch and then you can join the streams, it'll be the same time as these ones are. And then I'll also be doing more streams on Twitch later in the day as well, because that's normally when I stream on Twitch. But I just kind of want to see how Twitch does if I do it a little bit earlier in the day, like when I do these streams. So if you guys want to be part of those streams on Twitch, they will be very similar to how they are here on YouTube. We'll be talking about videos, we'll be going over things, we'll be messing around. Baby Yoda will be there, or Grogu, whatever you want to call him. And so if you guys want to do that, I would love to have you. And it's, if you want to follow, it's completely free. Twitch doesn't cost you any money. So I would appreciate that. But I just kind of want to let you guys know, because you guys are probably like, man, you're not streaming as much on YouTube, but that's on purpose. So tomorrow, around this time, I should be streaming on Twitch instead of here on YouTube. So if you enjoy the streams, make sure you go over there. You're the one Twitch streamer who doesn't mess up my sleep schedule. Perfect. Last live stream, I caught the recording, started running 18 minutes in, and got through 7 kilometers before the video review started. Hey man, we go through, we have a little bit of fun before we talk about the video for the day. You know what I mean? I think it's important, and I want, because I honestly, it's part of it is for my own, sanity, because if I start too early, what's up, Haley? If I start too early, every comment is, wait, what did I miss? 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 And I'm just like, okay, I wait a little bit of time before I just go straight into like talking about the topic of the live stream. It's much easier. Like it really, really is. I just noticed Baby Yoda. That's right. He's hanging out. He's hanging out back there. He's very excited. Hey, it got me through 7K, not complaining. Well, there we go. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to help you in your fitness goals. I've never seen a hat as a Christmas tree topper. I'm a fan. Honestly, it was out of laziness because I didn't want to buy a Christmas tree topper, but it's an actual hat. Like, I'm going to start wearing it soon at some point. Just a little bit closer to Christmas. Like, it's the 3rd right now. So, eventually it will be my actual hat that I'm wearing, but it works. It works really well. This is my first time watching a live, even though I get all the notifications. I see how it is. All you people hanging out while I'm stuck at work. Hey, you're still hanging out. How are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. The hat as a tree topper is actually an extremely cute idea. Hey, I do what I can. The best ideas are fostered from laziness, I think, Dude, you inspired my weight loss journey. Lost 116 since... Holy crap. That's freaking amazing. Congratulations. Good work. That's awesome. Love the Canadian tuxedo. Well, thank you. I'm actually wearing jeans as well. Ugh. These are very stretchy pants. So what did I miss? Hello, JK. You haven't missed anything. You can bet Baby Yoda is your tree topper. No, that's not very nice. Okay. Canada. That's right, Danny. How you doing, bro? Oh, that was... Geez, I completely... Holy smokes. I really got off track there. So the reason I got this bad boy... my little co-host, was actually, I was streaming yesterday on Twitch, and I was streaming yesterday on Twitch, and yeah, I am shaking the desk. So, and he's like, he kind of shakes very easily, so he'll be shaking back there. So I was streaming on Twitch, and jokingly, I was asking. So my friend Danny, you guys know, he's in the chat right now. Fat Lass and Family. Danny Gets Fit. He streams on Twitch as well. And I was like talking to him through the chat, and I was like, oh, I saw that you were like unboxing Pokemon cards. And I was like, is that like a new thing that seems to be like happening? It seems like a lot of people are into streaming like Pokemon cards for whatever reason now, like opening them. Sorry about the Wi-Fi. I don't know. The internet lately has been kind of trash. I don't know what's going on. But he has been streaming himself like opening these cards, and I was like, oh, like, is that like a new thing? And he was kind of like telling me about it. And joking around, he said, someone donate $50 so John can unbox a pack of these Pokemon cards. And someone did. So I was like, now I have to like find these Pokemon cards. So I thought that I could find them at Walmart, but they were all out. But I ended up finding Baby Yoda. And so I had to buy him, you know. I couldn't let him stay there alone, you know. It's just not very nice. You leave him by himself at the store, you know. He found me. Yeah, that's right. He used the Force to guide me to him. Baby Yoda needs a Santa hat. Yeah, I would need a really small one. It would have to be like unbelievably small because I have this one. I don't know if it's gonna work. There we go. Not over the ears. Well, if I don't put it over the ears, it will just like pop. It'll just like fall out. It'll fall right off. Over one ear. Like this. Here. I think it's just gonna fall off though. Don't fall. Stay. OG Yoda. Does that look all right? Did you see the last season of The Mandalorian? Yeah, I'm all caught up on The Mandalorian. Put the pom-pom in the front. I don't know. I don't think that looks very good. I don't like that. What's the remaining residue inside the mug? It's just the coffee. It's because I make these they're actually like lattes. So it's I heat up the milk and stuff, so the milk like kind of sticks to the side of the mug. It's coconut milk, I think. Keep his ears warm. Oh gosh, I haven't seen Abby's video on it yet. That should be interesting. Yeah, it will be it'll be an interesting one. We'll get into it soon, don't you worry. I'm just waiting for everyone to kind of filter in, you know? Yeah, if you know the name, don't spoil it for anyone. If you know Baby Yoda's his name, you know, keep it a secret. But I'm sure now everyone's gonna comment it, so you know, oh well. I just got done watching Abby's video. Now I'm here. Oh, there you go. Is the coconut milk moist? Yeah, it's very moist. It's very fluffy. Yeah, you had to buy him because he would have been lonely surrounded by all the other Baby Yodas and toys. No, there was no one else there. Okay, it was just him by himself. Well, his name was just revealed last episode. Yeah, but some people don't know it. I don't know. What's this about? I mean, you could probably read the title, right? I think that kind of tells you what it's about. I've been surprised. I've been surprised that I do more walking at work than I thought. There you go. When starting a new channel, do you recommend focusing on one thing or multiple? Like, I want to do my art with story time and weight loss. Should I just focus on one? I mean, I think you can focus on a few things, and then if something starts picking up, then that's when you maybe should kind of start being like, okay, I'm going to focus on this thing because it seems to be like this is the thing that people are interested in, you know? But like, if you don't have that many like people watching, then that's when it is time to kind of experiment and see what works, you know, what people like. Should I watch Abby's video before you start talking, or are you going to watch it with us? No, I'm going to watch it with you guys. Yo, first time I caught you live. Yay. Well, welcome, Anna. We love to have you here. Let's do it, you guys. All right. All right, so today we're going to be talking. Now, this video, I want to make it very clear. This video was posted like an hour before I am sitting here in the stream reacting to it or sharing my thoughts. So I have not obviously been able to watch the video because it's a pretty long one. But this is, as you can see by the title of the video, Dietitian's Thoughts on Amberlynn Reid's Diet and Mukbangs. This might be hard to watch. And this is from known dietitian on YouTube, Abbey Sharp. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know who Amberlynn Reid is. If you don't, I'm sure Abbey will let us know. So let's see how this goes.
Oh, this one's gonna be hard to watch.
I mean, she's probably not wrong.
Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. In today's highly requested video, we will be reviewing Amberlynn Reid. Now, I've received so many requests from you guys to review.
I do not. I mean, I believe everything she's saying right here because y'all, the Amberlynn Reid stands or whatever they're called, they go freaking hard, dude. Like, they do not play. And so I'm sure she's probably gotten literally thousands of people to ask her to talk about this stuff.
Review Amberlynn since I began this series, but especially since I did my review on Nikocado avocado. So similar to Nick, whose review you can watch right here, Amberlynn's channel has been the subject of a lot of hate, a lot of bullying, and a lot of controversy, largely to her extreme weight gain and the inconsistent nature of her content. And while it has taken me a long time to figure out how to best approach this video, I want to say that I think I'm finally ready.
I think that it's great that she is, you know, trying to respond in a way that is, you know, what she thinks is best. But I can say from my own experience that it seems like however you respond is never going to be enough, because if you respond in a way that's kind and you try to understand what's going on and you try to share experience and share knowledge with Amberlynn, people will be like, you don't understand what's going on. Like, she's tricking you. You should have went harder on her. Like, she's just going to use this as a blah, 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 blah. Right? So there's that camp. But then if you go extra hard and you're like kind of mean and you are a bully and stuff like that, which I definitely don't think is the right way to go about it. Absolutely. I have gone the other way, right? Being kind and trying to actually give knowledge and share things. But if you are overly mean and rude, then obviously people are going to be like, you're being overly rude and mean. And so this is a polarizing topic. And as a YouTuber, as a content creator, if you talk about it, there will always be a side of people that wish you talked about it in a different way. That's just the facts.
So today we're going to be taking a look at the evolution of Amberlynn's channel and her corresponding weight gain, my thoughts on her problematic mukbang content, and some of the reasons why dieting might be failing Amberlynn's weight loss goals. We will also once again be joined by eating disorder dietitian Alessandra Maggiasano to gain a little bit more insight into some of these hot topics.
I think that's cool.
But of course, before we get started, a few quick disclaimers. Number one, the information in this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only, so you should always speak to a healthcare provider about your unique healthcare needs. Two, this video is not intended to diagnose or pathologize Amberlynn. The intention of this video is to simply discuss the themes on her channel in an educational and compassionate format. Three, don't forget to please be kind in the comments both here and on Amberlynn's channel. Four, a trigger warning that some graphics and discussions may be disturbing to some of my viewers, particularly those who may have battled or are battling disordered eating.
So I just want to say, like, I think trigger warnings are good, and I think that they are necessary, and I'm glad that they exist. But for me, I think it's funny, and I put them in too, but it's funny to me that a video like this, we feel like we need to put a trigger warning when it's like, you saw the thumbnail and the title, so if you're going to be triggered, why would you click on it? Like, I just...
So of course, feel free to skip this video if that sounds like it could be you. And finally, do not forget to subscribe to this channel and ring that little bell so that you never miss out. Okay, so for those of you who are unfamiliar with Amberlynn Reid, she initially
the three of you guys
started her YouTube channel back in 2013 to document her weight loss journey. At the time, she was around 368 pounds. However, since starting her channel, she continued to steadily gain up to about 200 pounds and reached her highest weight in January 2020 at 572 pounds. Now, despite trialing...
And I mean, I don't think she's going to show the videos, but I've talked about Amberlynn, and like, she really has, like, if you go back to her, like, I think she still has it up on her channel. If you go back to her first video, it's her explaining why she wants to make this channel. Like, it really was at the beginning, I'm making this channel because I want to document myself losing weight. Like, that was the reason that she started, and like, there's video proof of that.
A variety of different popular weight loss diets during this time, viewers have questioned Amber's authenticity and commitment to her weight loss journey as she continues to steadily gain weight despite repeated efforts to improve her diet and start fresh tomorrow. Now,
okay, I'm not sure if she's going to bring it up, but I do think that it's important. Now, for my own, like, when I talk about Amberlynn Reid, I don't really care about the other controversies that are circling her, because when I'm talking about it, I'm talking about weight loss. I'm talking about, like, that's what I care about, right? But there are also other things that have happened in the past, many controversies that have absolutely nothing to do with weight or anything like that. It's more about being kind of a bad person, okay? And those are other things that people have made many videos on. I'm not sure if Abbey is going to go into it, but I do know that that is why there is also this other group of people that might not be the biggest fan of her because of the those different controversies as well. I'm not sure if Abbey's going to be talking about those because, again, you know, she's taking this from a dietitian's approach. So I would be surprised if she did bring it up, but maybe she does.
Now, in addition to her weight loss journey, Amberlynn is also known for her mukbang videos, which have really generated a lot of negative feedback. Critics of Amberlynn are quick to point out some of the contradictions of someone in a larger body seeking weight loss who is simultaneously participating in a trend that encourages eating large volumes of food in one sitting. So this begs the question, are mukbangs okay, acceptable, and fun to watch when the YouTuber is generally thin, healthy, or fit? And are they otherwise disturbing and problematic when the mukbanger's nutritional health is already in question?
Dude, and this is like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that she brought this up, because this is the question, and I don't have the answer, okay? Like, but this is the question that fires me up, because who knows? Like, it's so frustrating when people are like, oh, if you're overweight, you can't do mukbangs. I'm like, nah, dude, that's not how that works. Like, how could you just say, like, if you're thin, you're allowed to do this thing, but if you're overweight, you're not allowed to do it, right? Like, I disagree with that. And, like, people are like, well, YouTube should demonetize, Hungry Fat Chick or Amberlynn Reid or all these bigger people that are doing these mukbangs. But I'm like, dude, I can almost guarantee you that's never going to happen. Because YouTube, if they are going to, they would have to say themselves as a company, you're not allowed to do mukbangs because you're too overweight. And I just don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. Now, there's a difference when you are someone like Amberlynn who has made her whole channel about wanting to lose weight, and then you start putting out mukbangs where you are eating thousands and thousands of calories. Now, of course, those people that are following you that were excited, that are invested in you losing weight, they're going to be disappointed in the fact that you are now eating thousands and thousands of calories, and you are monetizing those videos, you are making money on those videos, and you're basically, it feels like, and I know that because I've had people explain it to me, it feels like a slap in the face because you were invested in this person. Now, should you feel like it's a slap in the face? I don't know. Like, people get invested in people they watch online. It just is a thing, right? So this is a really, really interesting conversation that I think is still being explored, but I am very curious to see what she says.
We're going to be diving deeper into these questions later on in the video, so definitely be sure to stick around for that. Now, with all of that said, many of Amberlynn's viewers have repeatedly expressed concern about her size and the implications that this may have on her health and well-being. Now, I can understand this concern, as we do know that obesity, specifically higher amounts of body fat, may put one at a greater risk of a number of chronic diseases, including cancer. Unfortunately, Amberlynn did
Now, I think that, man, this might just be me, but I really do feel like Abbey Sharp has, like, it's been really interesting seeing her, metamorphosis or transformation from being someone that was, it seemed like for a while was very almost pro health at every size and all this stuff, to where it seems like she is now more in the middle with this stuff, which is, I personally feel like is kind of where I am as well, where it's like, do we need to shame people and call them names or anything like that? Obviously not. But the reality of someone being, as large as Amberlynn is, or just being really, really big, like, those really can lead to some negative health complications, right? And the fact that she's saying this, like, this is probably something she wouldn't have said a few months ago. And so I think that it's really interesting to hear this.
Recently shared that she was diagnosed with stage 1 endometrial cancer, which is a cancer in the lining of the uterus. Now, I will say that there are a number of risk factors for endometrial cancers, including age, genetics, and use of certain forms of contraceptives. But research does suggest that obese and overweight women with higher amounts of body fat are 2 to 4 times more likely to develop endometrial cancer, and extremely obese women are about 7 times more likely. One explanation.
Now, I want to make it very clear, like, I think that it's terrible, absolutely terrible and very sad that Amberlynn has been diagnosed with cancer. Like, that really sucks. And I truly don't wish that on anybody. Truly. And so, like, when people are like, oh, it's good that she got, like, I've seen comments like that, like, dude, screw that. That's horrible. That is horrible to wish cancer on someone because you disagree with them or because you don't like their videos or a myriad of other reasons. Like, it really is very, very sad that she has been diagnosed with this. Like, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. I really, really wouldn't.
Explanation for this is that excess fat tissue produces higher amounts of estrogen, which has been associated with not only endometrial cancer, but also breast and ovarian cancers. Another possible explanation is that individuals with higher body fat often have increased blood levels of insulin and insulin-like growth factor 1, which may promote the development of some cancers, including endometrial cancer.
And again, all that stuff is really sad, but I want to make it clear, anybody can get cancer, okay? So, like, it can happen to anybody. So it's just like, for me, I'm not like a huge karma guy, but I would absolutely never wish it on anyone, no matter how healthy I think I am. Dog, that thing can get you regardless. So I would just steer clear. I want to make it very clear. That sucks, and I don't wish that on anyone. And please, karma, hear me. I don't want anyone to have cancer, okay? I wish it was gone forever and no one ever had to deal with it anymore, okay? Make that clear.
But of course, I am not an oncologist, nor am I part of Amberlynn's healthcare team. So obviously, I cannot speak to the root cause of Amberlynn's diagnosis. But what we can say, just by looking at the research, is that there may be an association between higher body fat and the development of some cancers. Now, with that said, since sharing her diagnosis, Amberlynn has also had a hysterectomy to surgically remove the uterus. So I do want to, of course, wish her a full and safe recovery and remission from her surgery and condition. Now, moving on to her
Yeah, and I do want to make it clear, like, I'm not saying that, you know, being overweight, being obese, all of those things, like, of course those increase your risk. I'm not saying that, like, if you're like obese, you won't get cancer. You will, like, of course they increase your risk. Just like if you're smoking, obviously you're going to have increased risk of lung cancer. Like, yes, of course.
Diet, I do want to start by acknowledging that Amberlynn has shared that she suffers from binge eating disorder and overeating. As usual, it is not my place to speculate about whether or not this is true. And like I said, I'm not here to diagnose or pathologize Amberlynn.
Now, I know that obviously she has to say that because, you know, she is a registered dietitian. You have to be careful. But I would say that through the videos, if you've watched any of Amberlynn's videos, I mean, she is pretty open and honest about, you know, having binge eating disorder. So I would say that from what I've seen, and I've actually talked to her in private, it definitely checks out, at least in my book.
But rather, the purpose of this video is to review the content on her channel at face value in a compassionate and educational format, so as to discuss some reoccurring themes like dieting and emotional eating. With that said, I really can't confirm whether or not Amberlynn's What I Eat in a Day videos are an accurate representation of what she actually consumes in a day. But we will talk more about binge eating disorder.
I mean, I highly doubt that they are. I highly doubt that, like, because a lot of times you'll see what she eats in a day videos. She ends up. They are. I don't want to use this word. They're kind of sugar coated, I guess, is the best way to put it. Like, they are. You know, like, and the thing is, I want to make it clear, like, this isn't just. Oh, hey, Abby's here. Hi, Abby. This isn't just Amberlynn Reid. Y'all, this, and I'm sure Abby can attest to this, this is so many YouTubers. Like, the amount of people that make full day of eating videos and they are not being realistic with what they eat, it's an epidemic. It's an epidemic. So many people do it. So that's why when I make my full day of eating videos, your boy's eating out of a microwave because I'm trying to be realistic and show you guys what I'm actually eating. Like, this is, so many people do this. So it's not just Amberlynn. Like, this is a very normal thing on YouTube. Like, seriously.
And dieting later on. For now, I do want to take a brief look at what Amberlynn's typical day of eating might look like at the time of filming this video, which, by the way, is subject to change by the time that it's live. Let's start with her breakfast, and a quick trigger warning. I'm going to be giving some suggestions on how to help optimize satiety for Amberlynn's weight loss goals. So if this is triggering for you, of course, feel free to skip this section of this video. So for breakfast on day one, we've got a smoothie with Greek yogurt, some frozen berries, and some spinach. On day two is a bagel with some chicken breast, cream cheese, and some Cheetos. And on day
Dog, the sandwich meal, honestly, you guys, that's like my lunch like 50% of the time. Maybe not Cheetos. Like, I have, here, I'll show you. I'll be right back. You guys. These are called hip peas, but they're basically Cheetos. Like, I eat that all the time. So shout out to that meal. It's a good one. just expose myself. I hope you guys appreciate that.
3, it's some pasta with onion, tomato, corn, pesto, butter, and some sparkling lemonade. So Amberlynn has previously said that she doesn't usually consume stereotypical breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals. Instead, she will usually just eat whatever she feels like in the moment. Great. I don't necessarily think that meals need to look a certain way based on the time of day that they're consumed. So
Same. Salads for breakfast sometimes. Hey, come at me. I don't care.
So if that's something that works for her and her palate, then it works for me. With that said, I think there is some room for improvement here to really maximize on the nutrition of these meals, which would help keep Amberlynn feeling satisfied longer, potentially curb the desire to binge later on in the day, and boost.
All right, Abby. Well, thanks for hanging out. I'm sure everyone was excited to see you. I appreciate you for stopping by. I hope everything goes well with the kids.
The disease-fighting antioxidants in her diet for general longevity and health. So for example, she could swap the bag of Cheetos with the smoothie from day 1 to pair with her bagel breakfast. And this would help cut back on some of the added salt and refined carbs while adding in a serving of fruit, veggies, and extra protein from the Greek yogurt. She could also choose a nice hearty whole grain bread instead of the bagel if she wants some days, which would provide a lot more satisfying fiber, protein, and maybe some healthy fats to really keep her energy levels more steady.
Dog, and also like bagels, they can be some calorie bombs sometimes. Like some bagels can be like up there.
Also, FYI, when I'm choosing a bread, I do like to look for the words whole grain as the first ingredient in the list. And ideally, I'm looking for about 3 to 5 grams of fiber and 3 to 6 grams of protein per 2 slices. So that might be a good guideline for Amberlynn as well. Now on day 3, I really like that she's got some veggies added to the pasta, but she could definitely shift the proportions, maybe by throwing in some zucchini noodles in with the regular pasta, or a few extra handfuls of frozen spinach, just to up the fiber content, and maybe also add in some tofu or edamame as well.
I like to add when I'm making, like, if I make pasta, this might be weird. You guys might think I'm weird, but sometimes I'll just literally throw in like some broccoli and stuff into it because it doesn't like really taste like anything, but you're getting in that fiber and you can add in the volume. Because for me, when it comes to if you're trying to lose weight and you're eating in a certain way, adding volume without adding a lot of calories, like that is truly the name of the game. Like it really, really is. And so, take that how you want it.
Especially because a 2015 meta-analysis found that soy intake was associated with 20% lower endometrial cancer risk. She could also swap her pasta for like chickpea pasta because it's got about twice the protein and fiber on average as traditional pasta.
Absolutely. Chickpea pasta, 100%. Shout out to chickpeas.
But I would say that, just adding in more protein and fiber to her breakfast meals would definitely help keep them a little bit more balanced and up their staying power to keep her feeling more satisfied until lunch.
Now, it feels weird. Like it's awesome that Abbey is doing this, but it almost feels like it is a exercise in futility, because like I said, I can almost guarantee, she said it herself, like she will make these full day of eating videos, but she doesn't actually, like that's not actually how she's eating, because later in the night she'll have like a huge binge, which is normal for a lot of people, and then it will, you kind of negate all of the work that you did earlier. So this is why, like when I'm talking to someone that's struggling with binging, that's why I always say like, maybe look at your diet and try and find ways to maybe add in a little bit more calories, because a lot of people, the reason they struggle with binging is because it's like a cycle for a lot of people. Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but this is just my own experience. Like I struggle with binging because I was over restricting and then I would binge and over restrict, binge, over restrict, binge. And so it was just a cycle that I was on. So once I stopped over restricting, that really helped me with binging at night, because I only ever binged at night, but it would help me with binging at night because I was eating a little bit more throughout the day.
And we know also that a Mediterranean style diet rich in whole grains, fruits, and veggies, YouTubers all in 10,000 calorie challenge.
What the heck? That was very weird. I hit the thing with my hand. My bad.
For dinner, or like Brinner. Fix. Now let's talk about dinner. Okay.
Wait.
Hummus and cut up. Now, with her lunch on day 1, which is 15 meta-analysis, found that soy intake was associated with 20% lower endometrial cancer risk. She could also swap her pasta for like chickpea pasta because it's got about twice the protein and fiber on average as traditional pasta. But I would say that, just adding in more protein and fiber to her breakfast meals would definitely help keep them a little bit more balanced and up their staying power to keep her feeling more satisfied until lunch. And we know also that a Mediterranean-style diet rich in whole grains, fruits, and veggies is associated with lower risk of endometrial cancer. So just something to really keep in mind. Let's take a look at lunch. Okay, so for lunch, day 1, she's at a restaurant and she has some tilapia with cream sauce, broccoli, and zucchini. Looks so good. Day 2 is just a Luna bar for lunch. And day 3 is a second bowl of that pasta she had on day 1. Now, with her lunch on day 1, which is the fish and veggies from Ruby Tuesdays, which looks delicious, Amberlynn also mentions that even though this meal was low calorie, it did help her feel full. And I'm really not surprised by this because if you guys remember my hunger crushing combo,
She's going to say something about fat. Let me see if I'm right. Let's see.
Want to aim for a source of fat, protein, and fiber with our meals.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
So this meal in particular is getting protein from the shrimp and tilapia, fat from the cream sauce, and fiber from the veggies. So super satisfying, I'm sure. And I also love that this meal is not so like overly restrictive. It's not like, plain broiled fish and steamed or boiled vegetables. We're getting that cream sauce in there to make it a little bit more satisfying.
Dude, and that's so true. Like when I make my, I know I pause this a lot. It's just how I am. Y'all, if you're not used to it yet, I don't know what to tell you. But like when I make my stir fry at night, I put in a bunch of veggies, rice, and chicken. And if I didn't put sauce on that, it would be so not good. So like I put on the orange sauce from Panda Express, and people are like, oh, that has sugar in it, and I'm like, I don't care, man. This helps me eat a ton of fiber, a ton of protein, and obviously I'm eating a lot of carbs, but like it makes this meal taste 10 times better. So I'd much rather put in that little extra sugar that has in the orange sauce if it makes me eat that every night, which it does. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So that really helps with reducing the idea of kind of mental scarcity as well. On day 2, Amberlynn opts for a Luna bar, and while the Luna bar is a great on-the-go snack, it's just not likely going to provide enough fuel to get her through to dinner. I mean, literally, these have less than 200 calories. The problem is, if we let ourselves get too hungry with low-calorie meals, we're more likely to overeat whatever we can get our hands on really quick.
Yep, exactly, 100%.
So even if she didn't have time for a formal sit-down meal, she could beef this up with like a handful of nuts, a hard-boiled egg, and a piece of toast, or some whole grain crackers, hummus, and cut up veggies. So I totally get that Amberlynn may be looking to choose really low-calorie meals in an effort to lose weight fast, but choosing meals that are just inadequate is a setup for a binge. So we still want to think about getting enough calories, particularly from those hunger-crushing compounds, to get us to that next meal.
This is why when it's so dangerous to play the game of how small of an amount of calories can I eat during the day. Like that's the game that ends up being played by a lot of people that are trying to lose weight, because it is true, the less calories you eat, the faster you will lose weight. Okay, that's how that works. But if you continue to eat really low calories, eventually, for a lot of people, they start to notice that at night I seem to be eating a lot of calories and I can't stop myself, and like it's really becoming a problem, right? And then it can develop like I wouldn't say like at the start it's like a full-blown binge eating thing, but like it might be some sort of disordered eating. But then slowly over time, if you continue to do it, it can develop into a binge eating disorder. Like it really, really can. And so that's why I don't like when people are like, I just want to eat as low calorie as possible, because it will get you to lose weight quick, but eventually you might be struggling with these things that a lot of people are. And it's not something that I want people to deal with. It freaking sucks.
And then as for day 3, Amberlynn has the same pasta that she had for breakfast. So again, we would want to maybe bump up the fiber and ideally get some plant-based protein into this meal to make it more filling and more antioxidant rich, and also maybe just add a little bit more variety. So we could switch up the veggies or serve it with like a green salad to get our veggie fix. Now let's talk about dinner. Okay, so for dinner on day 1, we've got 4 slices of bread with mayo, chicken, and bacon. On day 2,
That is a savage meal. Not saying that I want to eat it, because I eat something very similar sometimes. I get the rotisserie chicken, put it on some bread and stuff. But man, that's savage. Hey, props to her for showing that, because that meal, that's not something I would want to show on I would want to show on a full day of eating. So shout out to Amberlynn for actually showing that.
it's some macaroni with buffalo chicken sausage and broccoli. And on day 3, it's a bowl of cereal, then another bowl of cereal.
Oh, dude. Captain Crunch, dude. Yes. With the crunch berries.
A few spring rolls, and then 6 Oreos. So again, we're seeing a variety of different types of meals that don't necessarily fall into the standard dinner category, which is totally okay. And as you guys know, I am not into food rules, even ones that say you can't have cereal for dinner. I mean, like this video right now if you love breakfast for dinner, or like Brinner. Brinner, I guess, right? Yes, please.
All right. Well, I guess I have to like it, because your boy does that. All right. Here we go.
Yes, please. Anyway, so on day 1, we've got those sandwiches with mayo, chicken, and bacon. I like that there's more protein in this meal, but we would definitely want to see some veggies or like a simple side salad, just like balance things out.
100%. Side salad, when I'm not when I'm not being a piece of garbage and having a bunch of chips on the side of my sandwiches, side salad is dope.
I also think that maybe we could go for either the mayo or bacon, since there is already a lot of saturated fat in this meal. And that doesn't mean we need to skimp out on flavor or fat or even reduce the calories. We could totally swap the mayo for like avocado and the bacon for some flavored tempeh to boost up the plant-based protein. This is particularly of interest for Amberlynn because research suggests that higher saturated fat intakes are associated with increases in endometrial cancer risk by 60 to 80%.
Now, I think that it's really good that these videos exist, like Abbey is talking about this, because I'm gonna be honest, and hopefully it's very clear. I am not a dietitian, okay? So when it comes to things like, dealing with cancer and like having a specific diet because you have cancer, if you came to me and asked me, I'd be like, I don't freaking know, I have no idea. But the fact that Abbey is here, she is a dietitian, she can probably speak to the Amberlynn Reid's like actual doctor that deals with cancer. I don't know what the name of it is. But then they can work on something that like I would be like, I don't know what you're supposed to have, what you're not supposed to have. Like I could give something that would be completely wrong for their situation, right? So that's why I don't like to tell people like what you should eat or what you should do. I'm always like, yo, this is what I do. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't do what I do, like, or do if you want to, but like, hey, I'm not saying that you have to do this, right? This is just what works for me. Is it oncologist? Okay, well, there we go. I don't know. I'm not good with that stuff.
All right, so then on day 2, we are seeing a little bit more balance. We've got those carbs from the pasta, we've got some protein in the chicken sausage, and some veggies in the broccoli. Though again, I would probably shift the proportions just a little bit to see a little bit more green in there. And again, maybe that chickpea pasta would be another easy swap. As for day 3, obviously you don't need me to tell you that it's not a super nutritious meal with the Oreos and the spring rolls and 2 bowls of cereal for dinner. And Amberlynn herself actually mentions that this was a bad eating type of day, which resulted in a bit of a binge that occurred off camera. So saying that we need to boost up the vegetables is kind of a moot point here, but we'll be talking a lot more about Amberlynn's emotional eating later on in the video.
So stuff like that, like when you end up, cereal was a big one for me as well. When I was like struggling with binge eating, it was, I don't know what it was about it, but like just the sweetness of it and how easy it was to eat. Like that would be a big one that I would overeat on at like later at night when I hadn't been eating enough throughout the day. I'm sure there's a much more scientific way to explain it, but like that's what my brain wanted for some reason. So it got to a point where I was just like, I can't have cereal in the house. Like, I can't have cereal in the house because I'll try and tell myself, oh, I'll have 1 bowl, and then the whole box is gone, and I'm just like, frick.
But again, this may come down to a combination of physical restriction and the experience of emotional scarcity. but stay tuned because we're going to talk a lot more about that. So in terms of my overall thoughts on Amberlynn's diet, at least based on what we're seeing in these 2020 What I Eat in a Day videos, her portion sizes are not particularly big.
Now, I want to make it, and she said that, and I think that's important. She said it, right? What we see in these videos, okay? So I'm sure that there are people that are like, oh, you're being ridiculous. Of course she's eating too much. Just look at how big she is, right? Yeah, okay, fine. But again, like what she said in the beginning of this video was, we're going to look at what I can see in these videos, right? I'm sure, like Abbey, I don't think is a stupid person. I'm sure she can put 2 and 2 together and be like, okay, obviously this is not what she's eating every single day, like most people can do. But again, it's like, let's look at what these videos are being put out, what the audience is being shown as to what she is eating, right? That's all that she can do.
In fact, at times, they might just not be big enough, and that can set you up for a binge really quickly.
And that's what I've been saying this whole time. And I know people are like, well, that's ridiculous, not enough. But I'm telling you, if you're struggling with binge eating and you're eating 10,000 calories on a binge at night, like, yeah, of course, if you were to eat a little bit more and you didn't have that binge, you wouldn't have eaten that 10,000 calories at night, right? Like, that's the name of the game. Don't get yourself to a point where you are so hungry that you end up doing that binge, because that binge will ruin that progress. It 100% will.
But we do have some generally balanced meals to work with. There is, of course, some room to optimize the nutrition in some of Amberlynn's meals, particularly to ensure that she is satiated and then not setting herself up for a binge with inadequate calories at meal times, and also to make sure that she's getting in the antioxidants for cancer prevention. So for example, adding in extra nutrition from protein and fiber would help to make her meals more satiating, keeping her blood sugar levels in check, and of course, helping to keep her fuller for longer without adding in a ton of calories, which may potentially reduce the urge to binge later on in the day. Also, focusing on lots of colorful fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans, and soy protein may help to reduce her risk of future cancer. But again, these videos are just one piece of the puzzle and may not be an accurate representation of how Amberlynn eats off camera or during an actual binge.
Exactly.
Now, one hot topic that I want to get into is mukbangs. And I've shared my thoughts on the mukbang trend, which you can watch right here. But essentially, mukbangs on YouTube have now evolved from the Korean trend of eating a modest amount of food in front of an audience to simulate a social eating experience virtually, to now eating a large quantity of food in a short period of time, aka the actual clinical definition of a binge.
Woo! All right. Well, hold on to your butts, guys. Let's see how this goes.
So obviously, to the average viewer, Amberlynn's regular mukbang activity seems at odds with her weight loss goals. And this, of course, has led to a lot of online bullying, vicious diet trolling, and accusations that she isn't taking her health or weight loss seriously. With that said, Amberlynn has recently shared that she's actively trying to rebrand her channel without doing mukbangs, because even though these videos generate the most views, they also generate the most hate and scrutiny.
I mean, that's hard, man. As a YouTuber, like, this is just me from one creator to another. Like, if you find a type of video that does really well for your channel, it is really hard to let that go. And especially, like, man, I've thought about this a lot, you guys. Like, I've thought about this a lot, but like, to really put yourself in a position where you are, the types of videos that do the best for you are genuinely hurting you, like, oh man, that's a tough situation to be in. It really, really is.
Sounds a lot like what we heard from Nick on his channels as well. Now, what I do want to point out, however, especially in contrast to other infamous mukbangers like Nick, is that the volume of food in Amberlynn's mukbangs pale in comparison to the norm. In fact, even though we are seeing some traditional mukbang foods like flaming Cheetos and various high-calorie, highly processed fast foods, we're also seeing a lot of less typically bingeable and more balanced meals like veggie stir fry, tuna and celery with rice cakes, veggie burgers, or some meatloaf served with some mac and cheese. And these meals are often even accompanied by a side of veggies or sliced fruit.
But the thing is that those videos will never do as well as like the fried food, like the person that's eating this live squid on camera, like they sadly just will never do as well.
Which, let's be real, doesn't really satisfy a viewer's desire to live vicariously through a YouTuber's epic cheat meal. So Amberlynn's mukbangs are, dare I say, healthier than most YouTubers' all-in 10,000 calorie challenges. But yet, if you compare the comment sections of her mukbangs compared to many others, like, let's say, Always Hungry, Amberlynn bears the brunt
Shots fired. What?
of the disgust and hate. Let's just look at one of the most popular comments on Amberlynn's mukbang versus one from lifestyle YouTuber Always Hungry.
Ooh, dang, she came with the receipts and everything. Uh-oh. I told you guys to hold on to your butts.
Both of these people post about wanting to get or stay fit, but the primary difference is that Livia Adams from Always Hungry is already in a socially desirable body, and Amberlynn is not. So why does someone's body size influence our perception about whether or not mukbangs are acceptable? And why is eating any amount of food that is not considered diet food not socially acceptable from somebody in a larger body?
And I mean, this goes into what I was saying at the very beginning of this video. Like, do you really think YouTube, because a lot of people are like, we just need to demonetize their channels. Like, do you really think YouTube is going to go and be like, okay, Amberlynn, you're not allowed to do these videos, so we're going to demonetize you, but Always Hungry, this, regular sized woman, like, you're allowed to do it because you're not morbidly obese. But like, the fact of the matter is like, if you eat that way consistently all the time, right, you will end up becoming overweight. And so, oh man. There's a lot that goes into this conversation. There really is.
Here's the thing. I am by no means condoning mukbang videos of any kind, even the more modest versions on Amberlynn's channel. I honestly think that this is a really problematic YouTube trend that perpetuates a lot of disordered eating behaviors. But these behaviors are unhealthy regardless of size. Repeatedly eating large amounts of highly processed foods in one sitting can lead to increased blood pressure and blood sugar, water retention, shifts in one's gut microflora, and dysregulated mood. But it's very clear that the negative public perception of Amberlynn's content is unique because of her size.
Again, so I don't disagree with what Abby's saying here, but again, I think that there is more to it than that. I do think that there are like some, genuine like fat haters that are in that community that just are mean because she is overweight. I truly believe that. Okay. Like, trust me. But I do think that, I'm not sure if Abby didn't know or if she intentionally didn't want to talk about it, but there are other things that have happened in the past with Amberlynn, and there are other things, other controversies, and there are all of these other things that are going on that lead people to have a negative perception. So I don't believe that it's just the fact that she is overweight. I think that there is a lot more that goes into it, but I also do 100% recognize that there are definitely people that it's just because she's overweight, and if she had all the same controversies and she wasn't, they would not care as much. I truly believe that.
And that's nothing new. Research suggests that society's negative attitudes towards obese people play a significant role in their psychological and their physical health. I get that a lot of people think that trolling an obese person about their weight or offering like aggressive dieting advice might motivate these individuals to adopt healthier behaviors. But statistically, the opposite is true. Research shows that the experience of weight stigma reduces exercise frequency and increases binge eating, unhealthy weight control behaviors, and binge eating disorder.
I mean, I've said this so many times, like trying to like fat shame someone to lose weight. Whenever I talk about this, people are like, well, it worked for me. It helped me. But like the vast majority of people, if you make fun of them, it does not motivate you to work out. It just doesn't, especially if you don't like working out, if you don't like eating healthy. Like having someone make fun of you because of that, it is not a motivating factor for most people. It doesn't work. So that's why when I make these videos, I don't go on here and get all mad and yell at people and call them fat slobs and stuff like that, because it doesn't help. And if you are going to make videos like this and it's going to be under the guise of I'm trying to help this person, but then you are constantly making fun of them, like, you obviously aren't actually trying to help. You aren't. Like, so it's just frustrating when people are making similar videos to me, but all they're doing is just trolling and being unbelievably mean. And if we go into, I'm not sure if Abbey goes into it, but like there is genuinely a whole subsect of reaction channels that only react to Amberlynn. Okay? That's all they do, is react to Amberlynn videos. And then all of them are under the guise of trying to help. Dog, it's such BS, and it's such a thin veil. It's so easy to see right through it. Like, you are making these videos because they make you money, and the more mean you are, the more nasty you are, the more evil you are, the more views you will get, and the more money you will make. Like, you are not trying to help this person. It's very, very, very clear. And it's, oh man, I hate when people try and say, oh, I'm just trying to help. No, you're not, dude. Like, just be honest. Like, yo, I don't like this person. I'm gonna make videos to, basically bash them every time they upload.
In fact, one study on more than 2,400 overweight and obese women reported that 79% of participants coped with weight stigma by eating more food, and 75% of participants coped by refusing to change their diet. In addition, weight stigma can also cause psychological stress, which can increase the risk of depression, low self-esteem, and body dissatisfaction. So you can see how this experience may actually perpetuate some of these unhealthy, destructive behaviors. So are internet trolls the reason for Amberlynn's extreme weight gain since she started her journey online? Well, according to the research, and simply by looking at the comment section of even just one of her videos, I would say that this is a real possibility.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. This is why, dog, I'm getting freaking heated. This is why I talk about, like, if you are going to make a channel that is dedicated to you losing weight, I'm always like, I'm not saying don't do it, but really, really, really think about if that's something you really want to do, because you might end up getting some support, but it's very sad, but it's just the fact of the matter that if you end up losing weight and then you start gaining some back, people are freaking ruthless, dude. Like, they are so mean to people that end up gaining the weight back. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, it really, really is. And it really does end up pushing people over an edge. It makes people not want to lose weight anymore. It makes people ashamed of themselves. Like, so if you are going to do it, I'm always like, make sure you really think about it and make sure it's something you really want to do, because it really there's a lot of bad things about it. There's a lot of good things about it, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, there are some bad things about it.
And considering that Amberlynn's weight gain and mukbang behavior has become so ingrained in her online identity, she might feel that it's understandably a really difficult pattern to break. Now, while my own personal and professional experiences see mukbangs as often really problematic, I'm also totally open to the possibility that they may play a therapeutic role for Amberlynn. In one of her videos, Amberlynn mentions that eating in front of the camera just actually increases her awareness around what she's eating and allows her to eat at a more slow pace and a more mindful pace compared to how she might eat off camera, which is usually in front of the television. Because of this.
Oh, dude, yeah. When I'm eating by myself, I eat so unbelievably fast. Like, it's crazy. Also, Crystal, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. You're awesome.
She states that she actually often ends up eating less on camera compared to when she's eating when nobody's watching.
Well, I think part of that is because, like, a lot of people, when you feel like someone's watching you, you're like, they're probably going to judge me, so I should probably eat a little bit, like, slower, or, like, eat a little bit less. Like, it makes sense.
And there's a few reasons why this might be. For one, it may be that her audience gives her a sense of accountability with her weight loss goals. Now, accountability is an important element in a lot of weight loss programs and also in eating disorder recovery plans in an effort to maintain some structure around food and normal eating behaviors. In the context of disordered eating behaviors, which is what I would characterize some of the mukbang binging to simulate, The feeling of being watched by followers on YouTube is kind of similar to what might happen in real eating disorder recovery programs where meals are supervised by a member of your treatment team.
That's interesting. It's something I definitely didn't think of.
We also know that most eating disorder behaviors happen in private. So it is statistically unlikely that she would invite us, the viewer, to witness an extreme binging episode. Now, the other
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, I'm not sure how many of you guys have dealt with, like, binge eating stuff, but, like, when you deal with that stuff, like, there's such a intense shame that comes along with it that, like, the thought of anyone even, like, finding out, that's why when a lot of people binge, they hide the wrappers, they hide the food, they even, like, some people I know, like, well, they'll eat something and they know that, like, a family member is looking forward to eating that thing, so they'll wake up early in the morning, they'll go buy it, and they'll replace it because they don't want them to know that they did that, right? Like, shame is a huge part of it, or someone finding out. So it's very unlikely that you would have, like, a really bad binge while you are being watched, like while someone is watching you eat.
Potential benefit of the mukbang format is that Amberlynn herself suggests that eating for the camera encourages her to eat more mindfully and slowly, both of which are healthy eating practices. So research suggests that eating slowly without distractions allows your body more time to release satiety hormones. In contrast, eating while distracted, like watching TV or on your phone, can lead to faster eating and eating past the point of fullness. In fact, one study found that TV watching while eating increased food intake by up to 71%.
Geez, 71%. But also, Abby, stop coming after me. You can't stop me from watching YouTube videos when I eat, because I promise you I will not eat anything unless I'm watching something, okay? Unless I'm out to eat with someone. But if I'm eating by myself, your boy is going to find something to watch on YouTube, and I don't care what anyone has to say about it, okay? You can't stop me.
Research has also shown that mindfulness can be a useful tool to reduce emotional eating and the frequency of binge eating episodes, both of which Amberlynn claims she struggles with. So one study found that obese women doing mindfulness exercises decreased their binge eating episodes from 4 times a week to 1 to 2 times a week. That is powerful stuff. So I can't say that mukbangs are a hindrance to Amberlynn's weight loss efforts, and it's very possible that the blatant weight stigma and trolling in the comment sections of these videos play a larger role. But is an online troll really the only cause of such a dramatic shift in weight over time? So I want to talk about
No, I would say probably not.
some of the other potential contributing factors to Amberlynn's public weight gain. According to Amberlynn, she's been classified as overweight for as long as she can remember and was just 11 years old when she first went on a diet. So since then, she says that weight loss is kind of on her mind 24/7, and she really doesn't know what life is like without worrying about her weight. She even has a video where she lists 100 reasons why she wants to lose weight, which includes things like reducing her risk of disease, as well as engaging.
Dude, that's so freaking sad, man. I don't care what anyone says. That's so sad.
In seemingly normal experiences like dancing, traveling, and walking on the beach. So despite people's skepticism of Amberlynn, I think it's pretty clear that weight loss is something that she strongly desires, and she recognizes that her weight gain does have implications for her quality of life. So why is weight loss so hard for Amberlynn to achieve? Well, according to the literature, it can be really challenging for a lot of people to achieve and maintain weight loss long term.
Dude, it's freaking hard, dude. Like, she's honestly being, like, pretty chill about it, but, like, losing weight, especially, you guys, like, when you are the size that Amberlynn is, it's hard. Like, that is a really difficult thing. And, like, so it's something that I try and make very clear. Like, if this is something that you struggle with, like, you're not alone in that. Like, it's really hard to lose weight and keep it off. Like, that's why I get so frustrated when people are like, just lose weight or just do this. It's like, dude, it is not that simple, dude. Like, it's hard. It really is unbelievably difficult. It's unbelievably difficult. I believe it's possible. Obviously, my whole freaking channel is based on that. But, like, to just be like, oh, it's easy, just do it, whatever. It's not that simple, man. It really isn't.
Even the most liberal research tells us that most people who engage in intentional weight loss behaviors, on average, lose and maintain no more than 6 to 10% of their weight. So for somebody who is overweight or obese, they will likely remain in these categories after their maximum realistic amount of weight loss is achieved. We also know that there's a high rate of weight regain after a period of significant weight loss, also known as weight cycling. So one study found that individuals typically regain 30 to 35% of their weight a year later, and will often regain most of the weight or more within 5 years.
Now, I don't disagree with, these are studies, right? I think the thing that's important is that it's the way people have tried to lose weight for so long now. Like, people try to lose weight doing these fad diets, doing really overly restrictive things that aren't sustainable. And like, I don't think that we have really been able to study people that have learned about nutrition, people that have found sustainable ways of eating, because we're so focused on, okay, this person's doing this diet, let's study it. This person's doing this diet, let's study it. When instead, it's not going to be fun to study someone that is just eating in a healthier way and eating, a little bit less calories than they were before. Like, because all of these studies are based on these extreme diets, most of them, not all of them. That's why I think personally that, and this is my own opinion, I could be completely wrong, but that's why I believe that a lot of these studies are skewed, because they are talking about people that are trying these really, really extreme diets.
This may be one reason why Amberlynn regained the weight that she lost, those 89 pounds, and continues to gain more. This is not to say that it's impossible to sustain long-term weight loss. You can find tons of examples of people who do it every day. And I do believe absolutely that it can be done.
Shout out. Shout out to me and all you guys out there.
However, the data tells us that maintaining significant weight loss for over 5 years is more of an exception rather than the rule. With that said, obesity is a complex issue and cannot simply be resolved by eating less and exercising more. If it were that simple, we probably wouldn't be seeing Amberlynn going on a diet after a diet to lose weight, only to regain it back.
100%.
Also, putting oneself on really restrictive diets in an effort to lose weight often sets one up for a future binge.
Amen. Amen.
And Amberlynn herself has confessed that stages of restriction and deprivation often trigger her to binge and overeat. This is why the new obesity guidelines suggest that rather than suggesting somebody just eat less to weigh less, it's more important to focus more on the root cause of an individual's weight gain and healthy behaviors that they can actually sustain.
And focus less on just the number, but focus more on the habits, right? If you're focused on the habits, especially if you're as big as Amber is, if you focused on changing those habits, I promise you weight will come off. You don't have to focus on eating a Luna bar that's 200 calories. Focus on changing the habits and your weight will change. It might not be as fast as you want, but those habits are so much more important than the number on the scale. Like, I cannot put it more clearly than that. Your habits define who you are.
Now, one of the many reasons why just eating less doesn't always work is that food is often used as an ineffective coping mechanism to soothe negative emotions. So Amberlynn's documentation of her emotional eating episodes are often peppered with depressive episodes and follow along the typical cycle of guilt, shame, regret, and fear of losing control.
And I think that it's good that she does this and she shares this stuff, but at the same time, like, knowing I'm a creator, knowing that if she puts, binge or this thing in the title of the video, it will cause her to get more views. And so again, like, this is not something many people have to deal with. Like, there's not many people in her situation, maybe a few around the world, but like, that would be so hard, you guys. Like, that would be so hard to deal with, knowing that you want to lose weight, but also knowing for a fact, if you put a video up that shows you binging on a lot of food, it will get astronomically more views. That's tough, man. That's a tough thing to deal with. Am I saying it's right? No, but I'm just saying, hey, the realistic implications of that it's a hard thing to deal with.
This is why one of the first steps to dealing with emotional eating is to help identify and differentiate physical and emotional hunger while working with your therapy team to really find other effective coping mechanisms to help manage those emotions. I talk about this in a lot more detail in my video on emotional eating, which you can watch right here. However, I just want to summarize the differences between emotional hunger and physical hunger. Physical hunger develops gradually, whereas emotional hunger comes on usually pretty suddenly or abruptly, often accompanied by some kind of really strong emotion. Emotional hunger often also can drive you towards one specific food, whereas physical hunger often is a little bit more flexible and more open to what's available. Physical hunger often has a
Yeah, usually if you're physically hungry, it's not like for a very specific, like it is this one thing that I need to eat. It's like, you know, you're just like, I'm hungry. What sounds good?
clear endpoint. So you're usually able to experience the onset of fullness and take it as a cue to stop eating. Whereas when you're eating out of emotional hunger, it's often more difficult to feel satisfied or full. And when you don't, it often triggers further feelings of guilt and shame. Now, before we dive deeper into these topics with Alessandra, I want to talk about Amberlynn's current weight loss plan since reaching her highest weight of 572 pounds in January. So in an effort to continue to lose weight, and with the weight loss goal of 400 pounds, Amberlynn has flirted with Weight Watchers, Noom, and intuitive eating. But outside of diet attempts, her focus has been on curbing her binge eating episodes, all of which have collectively helped her lose close to 90 pounds. Now, it's important to mention that for Amberlynn, these episodes are not just benign binges that can, easily be overcome and forgotten about at the next meal or snack. There can actually be a difference between a binge and what Amberlynn has been diagnosed with, which is binge eating disorder. So to dive more into these topics, I've once again invited my colleague, eating disorder dietitian Alessandra Maggiasano, to provide her insight and expertise on the subject.
I'm kind of curious to see what they have to say here.
Thank you again for joining me, Alessandra.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be back.
So what is the difference between a binge and binge eating disorder?
Okay, so great question. The main difference between the two of them is essentially clinical criteria or diagnostic criteria. So a binge eating disorder is a mental health condition that can be technically diagnosed, and it follows very specific quantitative measurements. So things like eating a certain amount of food in a specific amount of time, generally larger than someone would eat comparably to you.
Well, I mean, it's like binge eating is more than just like overeating, like, oh crap, I went to dinner with my family and I freaking ate like 4 rolls. Crap, I didn't want to do that. Like, that's not binge eating, right? Like there really is like certain things that go into it. I think one of the biggest things is, for me at least, is like the shame that you deal with. Like, if you just overeat and you're like with a bunch of friends, like most likely you're not going to binge while you're eating out with a bunch of friends and family. Like, that shame isn't the same as like when you're at home alone. Like, I saw someone comment, like, I would hide in my closet and eat, right? That's a completely different feeling.
And it also involves some qualitative measurements like feeling guilty, feeling uncomfortably full.
Dang! Man! Hey! I haven't seen this video yet. Freaking dang, bro. Okay.
Eating when not hungry, things like that. But it's more quantitative in terms of recurrent episodes of binge eating, at least once a week, they say, in the past 3 months. Whereas a binge, first of all, could be on something other than food. Mm-hmm. And it's more subjective in nature. It can be more subjective. So someone can eat a cupcake and feel like it's a binge, and that is completely valid. So that's the main difference between them. They're very similar, really almost identical. The only difference is one kind of is clinical and checks off boxes, and the other one can actually be more subjective and takes into consideration more qualitative components.
Amazing. Good to know. And regardless of diagnosis, what are some strategies to help kind of curb overeating and those binge cycles?
The main number one strategy for both is meal regulation. So whenever someone is experiencing either overeating cycles or binge eating cycles, it is because of some element of what we call chaotic eating, or eating that either doesn't satisfy enough.
Chaotic eating, man. I feel attacked right now, man. If anyone's seen my full day of eating, it's like, bro, I don't think I know anyone that has is more chaotic, more of a chaotic eater than John. Oh man, I'm getting attacked right now.
Physically or emotionally or mentally. So we want to look at, it's widely known that binging comes from some element of restriction. That's thankfully now pretty well known. But
chaotic eating sounds like a death metal band.
there's this other component of mental restriction that is less often understood, and that's what I like to focus on with my clients as well, is this idea that your meal regulation is not just about going through the motions of eating enough food quantitatively, but it's also about feeling satisfied and feeling like it's enough and that you're fueling yourself.
So this is kind of a more scholarly way of what I was saying earlier, is like, make sure you're eating a little bit more, right? If you're struggling with binging, a lot of it is related, like I said, to over restriction. So if you're over restricting, obviously that's a problem. So that's why I say, like, being able to eat a little bit more throughout the day, or, you know, being a little bit more structured and being like, I'm going to eat this many calories at this time, I'm going to have this meal at this time, and like making yourself do that, because then at the end of the night, you're not starving and you're like, I need to eat something, and then you're like, I'm just going to have this, and then it ends up being like a lot of things that you probably shouldn't have eaten, you know?
Often. And one of the biggest struggles that I see in my clients is they often ask me, okay, but I'm working on my overeating, but I feel like I'm eating more. You're telling me to eat too much. And
yep. Oh, it's hard, man. It's hard when you're like, because you're so focused on like, no, I need to eat this many calories, like this is what works, and then someone's like, well, obviously you're eating, because if you're binging, right, and you're like, I need to eat 1,200 calories a day, like the arbitrary number that I just made up, but like, I need to eat 1,200 calories a day, and you're forcing yourself to do that, but then 2 days out of the week you're binging on 5,000 to 10,000 calories. Your weekly calories are going to be higher than if you just let yourself eat 1,500 calories a day, or even 1,600 calories a day, and you weren't binging, right? Like, that's why it can help you that's why, like, when you hear people like, maybe you could eat more and still lose weight, like, that's a big part of what that means, because you are eating more during the week, but you're not having those binge episodes, which are 5,000 to 10,000 calories, or whatever arbitrary number you want to use. So therefore, you are technically eating more most days, and you are losing weight. Like, it really can work.
That's the biggest struggle, because ultimately it feels like they're eating more when really we're taking away the binging, and we're taking away maybe the grazing. And
man, I swear I haven't seen this video yet. Dang.
the most important thing is we're taking away the mindless eating that they weren't even aware they were doing. Right. So they don't really count that. But when I'm like, okay, for lunch, have a sandwich and some veggies and hummus and a piece of fruit, they're like, that's a lot of food.
No, and that's what you just said there, right, is so important. Like, when you talk to someone that struggles with binge eating, because, like, again, a big part of it, oh man, a big part of it is shame and guilt. So they're not gonna tell you that they're doing it. It's not gonna happen. They're not gonna tell you. So if you're trying to work with someone, and that's why it might actually work for some people when they are actually eating more, because they are still eating less, but they didn't tell you about these binges, but you can kind of, you know, if like, hey, you're 400 pounds, like, and you're definitely not eating 1,200 calories a day, it's not happening. So that's why it's like, let's eat a little bit more. And so they are now not doing those binges. So in turn, they are eating more and losing weight, right? Like, that's how that works.
That's a lot of food. But it feels like it is, because it's mindful, intentional. So that's really the main strategy when we want to curb, is meal regulation and satisfaction.
Amazing. Great tips. And in your opinion, why do a lot of weight loss diets fail individuals who suffer from binge eating disorder?
Well, I think weight loss diets,
I'm going to say they're too restrictive. That's my guess.
fail everybody. And I think in one way they really are unfair to people who suffer from binge eating disorder and overeating, though, is because they're often, again, there's this stigma of that binge eating and overeating is about eating too much, a loss of control and low willpower. So weight loss diets offer this wonderful solution to just kind of fixing that, but it fails them ultimately because it's not about, it's about deprivation. Again, not just physically, but mental deprivation. but it pulls on their heartstrings of, you're not good enough. Like, you're just not doing it right. Like, if the diet didn't work, you eat too much. That's the problem. So it really is hard on them because they're disadvantaged in terms of the stigma of binge eating and overeating, for example.
So insightful. And is there often a focus on weight
I don't know. I feel like I was like half right. I don't know. She was using a lot of words. I got a little confused. I'm not gonna lie.
loss when treating people with binge eating disorders, or is this just like too triggering for the most part?
Definitely too triggering. It's very much counterindicated. So we would never focus on weight loss at all, at least at the beginning stages of treatment. So just like how we would with someone who was suffering from anorexia or bulimia or any other type of eating disorder, weight loss cannot happen in recovery in terms of that can't be the focus of the goal, because often, remember, it's the symptom, right? Like, wanting weight loss is a part of the symptom. It doesn't mean it can't happen or it can't be addressed, but it needs to happen within the process in order for it to work. Otherwise,
So I slightly disagree, and I think it's just the wording, but I do think that it is possible. I think what she is mainly saying is that focusing on weight loss while you're struggling with binge eating is probably not the best way to go about it, right? So again, like I was saying earlier, focusing on habits, and then through those habits, you will probably lose weight if you are having better habits. That's what it seems like she's saying. But again, like she's probably some a dietitian or someone that's more health at every size. So you can't, like, you're not allowed to say you can lose weight. It's kind of like taboo. So that's my opinion, at least.
it is too triggering and it gets in the way, because then it's just about, okay, but like the progress is about weight loss, which negates all the other indicators that we try and focus on when it comes to recovery.
And how could somebody theoretically with binge eating disorder who is at a higher weight, is it possible for them to safely lose weight without feeling restricted? And how would that happen?
It is possible. The number one
Abby's asking some good questions, man.
way it happens is time. It takes a long time, and you have to go through the process. So it's uncomfortable, but they have to go through the process of understanding where the binge eating came from to begin with. Because oftentimes what I find is when they start the process, it's like, okay, weight loss, that's what I don't feel comfortable in my body, I want to lose weight, and I hear them and I validate that. But once we go through the actual process of recovery and healing their relationship with food and therefore body, their idea of weight loss changes. So it's not necessarily that they completely give it up or that we don't touch it again, but we change together the definition of that. We might focus on, okay, well, what does weight loss mean for you? What does health mean for you? Is it about a size? Oftentimes those kinds of things are what they would say at the beginning. It's about a jean size, or it's about looking a certain way in clothes. When you go through the process, the definition changes to something a little bit more holistic, and that's how it can safely be done, because then their mindset is shifted to something much healthier.
So this is a good comment, and I'm glad that this was brought up. So this is from Jen. She said, "John, I totally see your point, but just to be clear, she is talking about an eating disorder. Weight loss really shouldn't be the initial focus with any eating disorder, even if that happens naturally." And I would agree with that, and I think that's a great point. Obviously, that's what they're focusing on here. I think that just for me, my mindset is always just, I'm a person that lost weight. I try to help people lose weight, and so that's where I'm kind of thinking, but I agree with what you're saying, and I think that it's a great comment, so I appreciate you leaving that.
Than just a body size alone. So it can be done safely. It just has to be done over time and with the right unpacking along the way.
And so could somebody with binge eating disorder ever get to the place of being able to eat intuitively?
Absolutely. I see it all the time. It's one of the most amazing things that can happen from binge eating disorder that is like pretty chaotic in eating. You can go and eat really, really intuitively. It just, again, takes time and trust, because ultimately it's a relationship that's broken.
And so Rachel said, "I agree, but how long before you discuss weight?" I think with that, I mean, it's a good question, and I would say, obviously, I'm not an eating disorder specialist at all, but like, I think that that's going to be person by person. And if you really are in treatment for an eating disorder, then that's probably something that you would talk to with your, the specialist that you're working with, not me.
And we just have to heal it. And once your relationship with your body is healed and you practice, that's the other thing I tell my clients, you've got to practice. It's not perfect. You're going to have days where you don't eat intuitively because, you're busy at work and you need to eat and you're maybe not really hungry, but you have to. That's not really intuitive, but it kind of is because you need it in the bigger scheme of things. So these are the ways that we talk about intuitive eating. We make it practical.
I appreciate that they brought this up, and like she's like making it clear that, hey, intuitive eating is not the solution for everyone. Okay, like not everyone can just go from, this is one of my biggest things with health at every size is they go from this person is eating a ton of food and they're overweight, you just need to eat intuitively and everything will figure itself out. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Like someone has to get the knowledge and gain and understand their body to a point where maybe they can be intuitive. I'm not even sure if everyone can be intuitive. I think that it's the goal that a lot of people should kind of strive for, but it's not realistic to just be like, everyone should eat intuitive right now, go for it. It's not that simple. It doesn't work that well.
And absolutely anyone can eat intuitively.
And do you see success with implementing like mindfulness strategies for people who have binge eating disorder, and like what would be the most effective?
Mindfulness is absolutely number one, very effective. And ultimately it's effective because it forces the client to be aware of the present moment, which is usually the opposite of what's happening when they're overeating or they're binge eating. Even if they're aware, because some clients will say like, I'm pretty aware I'm binge eating, even so there's a disconnection with your body. So mindfulness kind of brings that all to the surface. So it's things like unpacking, your triggers, environmental triggers, figuring out, do we have to reposition things in your kitchen? Do we have to reposition where you sit at the table? Screen time, bowls, portioning, all those kinds of things help to bring mindfulness to the surface, as well as tons of journaling. So that
I know people hate on triggers, but like, dude, that stuff's important, and everyone has different ones, and so like it really is tough, like, because there can be, like she said, a bowl like that could be someone's trigger. Like it might sound ridiculous to you, but if that's something that you struggle with, like that really can be the thing. Like there are so many different things that can trigger someone to do something like this.
That helps. At the beginning, I'll have clients write a ton of notes around their meal times. I'm less concerned with their logging of the food and more about the context around it, because that's the mindfulness piece. And so it's very important and very effective.
Amazing. Okay, and finally, what are some strategies to help reduce that emotional eating component that may contribute to binge eating, of course, in addition to therapy?
So like I mentioned, journaling is very, very helpful. But again, it's this idea of just tuning into your body's cues. So I like to use introspective awareness a lot with my clients and asking them, can we listen to your heartbeat, your pulse, how do you know you have to go to the bathroom, your bladder being full? Do you ever question that? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, that's where I want you to get with food. Or you don't question it. Your body gives you a message and you just do it. So that's what we're working towards. And there's little strategies that I work with clients on to work towards that. Things like hunger scales, to figure out, where am I in terms of hunger before a meal, middle of the meal, after a meal?
I think that's a great way of explaining it, right? Like when you have to go to the bathroom and your bladder's full, you're not like, should I go to the bathroom or should I wait and pee my pants? I don't know. Right? Like, I think that like treating it like that, if you get to a point and if you feel like you're not there yet, that's something that you can work on, right? And I don't think like everyone that isn't there has some crazy disorder, but like there's a lot of people that like for them eating intuitively or making the right, it really is tough. It's hard.
Just to compare over time. And also things like grounding techniques I find very, very effective. So similar to the mindfulness stream, I pull from DBT, dialectical behavior therapy modalities, where they talk about using grounding and using your senses as a means to ground and calm anxiety in DBT, they use it for anxiety. So sometimes I use it when we have urges for binging. So we might kind of together figure out, okay, well, which of the five senses do you identify strongest? And if someone says, you know what, I just touch is really important to me, we might think of something that they can use as a touch mechanism to have with them when they are experiencing an urge or when they're coping through something.
This is some really good information, man. I'm learning right now too.
Like fuzzy blankets or, like a squishy ball or a fidget spinner or things like that. And any of the senses can have these very powerful tactile grounding techniques and strategies. So we create kind of like an urge toolkit using these strategies, so that when people go into situations that are very stressful around food, or even when they're at home dealing with a mealtime, you can go towards this to curb the emotion. Because whenever we got emotion, we just got to ground and get present.
And so what about those clients who say, I know I'm hungry, I know I'm full, but what do I do about the times where I'm hungry for the wrong foods?
Great question. So my answer to that would be, let's figure out why you think they're wrong foods, right? Because that goes back to the mental restriction then. So even though you might say like, okay, I want the bad foods, the reason you want them is because you think that they're bad. There's a lot of emotional energy that gets charged when we have to think that something is bad. So, I get this question all the time. They're like,
now this is a really big topic with a lot of like health at every size, and this is why, like, when people ask me, what's your favorite cheat meal, or like what's your favorite like naughty meal or whatever, and I'm just like, dude, I don't think about it like that. Like, I know I can eat whatever I want, and I will eat whatever I want. But for me, the reason I choose to eat the foods that I choose to eat is not because I'm trying to be good and I need to avoid the bad foods or anything like that, right? It's because, like, I know that this is the food that I want to eat that will fuel my body the way that I want it to be fueled. Like, there's so much more to food than if it's good or bad, right? And I think that this is really important, that a lot of people miss this. Like, when people, like, I honestly almost cringe. Like, I'm not going to joke. Like, I kind of cringe when people are like, what's your favorite cheat meal? I'm like, dude, I'll eat whatever I want, bro. Like, I don't think about food as a cheat meal. Like, I just eat, right? And if I want to have a piece of cake, I'll have a piece of cake. More often than not, I don't want a piece of cake because I don't like how it makes me feel. There's not much nutrition in it. It was, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's more than just that.
Like, but there are foods, aren't there foods that people just shouldn't eat? Like, how can you be a dietitian and tell me that, like, there aren't foods, right? I'm sure you hear it too.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah, don't eat, like, I don't know, freaking toxic sludge or something. It's probably not a good idea.
Aren't there foods that we just shouldn't eat? And I say, like, of course there is gentle nutrition. Of course there's foods you should have more often, etc. But the energy that you spend trying to villainize those foods takes away from your decision in that moment to make another choice. So you don't have to choose that food, but you don't have to hate it. Let's just neutralize it. So if you know when you're hungry, know when you're full, but you just want the bad foods, it's because you're thinking about bad foods. It has too much power, and potentially you're not getting enough food also during the day, right?
Now, I think that it's important that this is a good mindset to eventually have, but I think in my opinion, this is something that is very hard to actually implement. If you are at the beginning, I know that this is mainly about like eating disorder stuff, so of course, like, I'm going to relate it more to weight loss. Like, I want people to understand that, like, if you're not there yet, like, it's okay to not be there yet. And I think that's very normal. But I think that that's where eventually you should try and get to, right? And it might seem like it's very far off. And trust me, it definitely felt very far off for me when I was first losing weight. But it is very possible to get to that point. It just takes some time and it takes some effort.
Like, if you're craving somewhere, usually the first thing we look at with cravings is you're not eating enough. But when you are, and there's the physical component satisfied, then we look emotional. And we say, well, then you're probably thinking that it's bad, and that's why you want it. So let's do some exposure therapy.
Right. It's kind of the difference between physical restriction and emotional scarcity, that same kind of mentality.
Yes. Yes. And it's a fine line between a restriction and a boundary.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what recovery is about, is learning what is a boundary and what is a restriction, and knowing that one is flexible and one is inflexible. And that's the difference.
Love that. Flexible and inflexible. That is so helpful. Thank you again so much, Alessandra, for providing so much helpful insights. And once again, everyone, I'm going to be leaving all of our contact information in the description below so that you can reach out if you're looking for some one-on-one support. So thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again to Alessandra for providing her helpful insights.
That was a really good conversation. I hope that people stick around and watch that part for sure.
So once again, I'm going to be leaving all of our contact information below if you need to reach out for some one-on-one support. Okay, so again, the intention of this review is not to diagnose or pathologize Amberlynn, but to use her content for educational purposes to provide you with helpful insights and knowledge on emotional eating and the complicated world of obesity, weight stigma, and binge eating disorder. I also want to strongly remind you to please be kind in the comments, both here and on Amberlynn's channel. Your words are so powerful, so please use them wisely.
True.
We ultimately cannot know what somebody is going through off camera, so I really do ask you guys to consider if your comments are helpful or supportive, or if they contribute to the weight stigma and discrimination that people in larger bodies are so often subjected to. And on that note, that is all for today's video. If you liked it, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below with who you'd like to see me review next. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time on Abby's Kitchen.
Wow, that truly was like a really good video, and I'm glad that Abby made it, and I think that it's a very interesting topic for sure, like really interesting one. Wow, that took a very long time. I think most likely I'm probably just gonna try and get this video up like later today, just to get it up while it's kind of relevant, because I don't want to put it up in like 2 weeks and people are like, what the heck is going on here? But so that's my goal. I'll probably just edit it myself, and it'd be pretty easy. It doesn't really take that much. You missed it, you did, but it'll be up in a little bit. I promise. But I do want to say, for everyone that's still here, I know a bunch of people are probably gonna leave right now. If you do enjoy watching these streams, I'm going to be switching over to Twitch as well. So if you want to make sure that you are able to catch all the streams, please go follow me on Twitch. It's completely free. I'm not asking for any more money, but I just don't want people that actually want to see the streams miss them. They will be happening at around the same time. They will be about the same content, but it will just be over there as well. So just letting you guys know. Okay, so like if you guys like these streams and you don't want to miss them, go over to Twitch and make sure you're following, because yeah, that'll really, you'll be able to watch them all. And so make sure you do that. It's Rachel just posted the link, but it's twitch.tv/obesetobeast. Yeah, as well, like additionally, yeah, so I'm probably going to switch to Monday YouTube, Tuesday Twitch, Thursday YouTube, Friday Twitch. So tomorrow I should be streaming on Twitch. Just a way to kind of diversify the content and stuff, and so it's not just only on YouTube. Just you never know. I think it's a good idea to diversify yourself, so you're not just kind of stuck in one place. So that's my goal. That's why I'm doing that. But I would appreciate if you guys would go over there and check it out. And so would my child. He would appreciate it as well. He'd love to see you there. Twitch barely works on Chrome. Can you not get a different browser? Twitch works on Chrome for me. Can you do a blooper reel of the chat at the start of the streams? What do you mean, like a blooper reel? I don't know why we're talking about sushi, but yes. I'm literally revved up and ready to educate. There you go, Ari. Kill it. I'm so hungry. What should I eat? Eat whatever you want, man. Do your thing. John, you stole my baby. I did not steal this baby. I bought this baby, okay? He's very cute. Bloopers of John laughing for extended periods of time. John, do you have videos, recommended videos, and or your Discord, any type of lower body exercise to help reduce cellulite? So with cellulite, that's going to be reduced through just being in a deficit and losing fat. You can't like spot reduce fat. You can't spot reduce cellulite. It doesn't work like that. So it's it just kind of you have to be in a deficit, lose some weight. That's how you do that. I'm vegan and that works for me, but it's not for everyone. John, dig the denim jacket. Thank you. I appreciate it. John, I love the glasses. Dang, you guys are being so nice. Go to random photos on Discord for the behavior chain used in DBT to help with stopping a binge. Well, there you go. There you guys go. How are you guys trying to limit eating these days during the holidays? Sadly, Thanksgiving did a number on me. I've talked about this before, but like when it comes to like dieting and stuff during the holidays, one, it's almost impossible. Like if you're eating with family, it's really freaking hard. So what I say is make sure it's just one day and then you move on, right? Like Thanksgiving is one day. It doesn't have to be a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks after the fact. Like it's one day and then you move on. Like that's the way that I do it, at least. And then obviously, like while you're eating, you don't need to go ham and like have a whole pie, but you can have a piece of pie, right? Like enjoy the food that you want to enjoy, but you don't have to overindulge. Is that the child they have at Costco? I saw one just like that while grocery shopping last night. I got my child from Walmart. My family did basically 4 this year. Yeah, that's hard when you end up having to do a few. I don't know. At that point, you just almost have to like be like, hey, family, I am gonna eat at one of these, and I don't want to hear what anyone has to say. Okay? I let you guys know, but that's hard. That's definitely hard. Only the essentials as I throw 30 baby Yodas in my cart. Bust out the diet scale and weigh those leftovers and meal preps for days. I got my child from Walmart. That's not a weird thing to say, okay? It's very normal. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that I'm weird, okay? Those Christmas... wait, I missed. What was it? Those Christmas care packages when you live abroad, oof, are those good? I want to buy that child, but I don't know how to justify spending so much on it. Yeah, it's kind of expensive, to be honest, but I don't know. For me, I thought it would look cute in video, so it was worth it to me. I eat a bit less the day before Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. Well, that can help as well. I literally had meal prep for a week because of Thanksgiving. Yeah, I mean, if you grab the right things, like if you grab like the meats and stuff, like you can have some solid meal preps for sure. Who do you think will win the boxing match, Eddie Hall or Thor? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I feel like Eddie Hall probably. I don't know. Thor's a lot taller, but Thor's had I think he had like a stroke or cerebral palsy or something like that. So that might mess with him. I don't know, but I don't know too much about that stuff, to be honest. LOL, I just failed to get 12 reps because I got the child at Walmart line. I had to lift when you die of laughter. I'm sorry. I apologize. LOL, why is it so expensive? Does Disney not have enough money? No, I mean, they're Disney, right? They're going to make it be unbelievably expensive because that's how they are. Any advice on how to normalize eating habits after being too restrictive to lose weight? I lost 60 pounds from restricting, but I don't eat healthy. You just have to, I mean, that's a big question. That really, really is a big question. Like, I would say just, you got to start slow. Like, that's the best way to put it. You got to start slow. No pimping out the children. I'm not pimping out any kids, all right? Jeez. All the best toys are the most pricey. I mean, it's like they know they can charge a lot of money for it, right? Like it's not a surprise. Makes sense. All right, you guys. Well, that was quite the long video to react to, and I am spent. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming to the live, and I appreciate you guys very much. Again, I would love for you guys to check out my Twitch. If you don't want to miss any of these streams, it's twitch.tv/obesetobeast. I would love to have you. It's pretty much the same thing that you're used to seeing here, just on another website. It's I think it's a little bit easier to use as well. There's a lot more features and things that are a little bit more fun. But I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I hope that you guys had a great time. It should be posted later today, hopefully, if all things go well. It's a long video, so it might take a while. But I'll see you guys later. I love you guys. Peace.